So this picture ended up running as a double page in Life magazine year-end issue, and immediately one of the Time magazine editors who had been shot for originally called me and said, "So what are you doing holding back?" I said, "What are you holding back? What are you talking about?" "You're holding back that picture in Life this week?" I said, "Oh, you mean the one that was sitting on Rick's desk for 7 months that he wouldn't print?" Followed by long silence. Anyway, it ended up being my favorite picture of the whole take. At a time when there wasn't much mystery to anything, it was a little bit of a mystery there. One of the things I always try and convince young political operatives is that the best light in the world is at 30,000 feet on a jet with cloudy, when it's cloudy outside and the light's just kind of coming in. And they always think you're joking, of course, but I always show them this picture because even Al Gore looks, well, Al Gore. This is the picture that launched 1,000 Holgas. The Holga's a little $20 Chinese plastic camera, and it has a little sweet spot in the center that's kind of in focus, and the rest of it is kind of like marginally, whoa, it's like that smear the Vaseline on the film kind of effect. This was 2 days before the election in 2000, and it was pretty highly, I love this picture. It actually got used a year later. This was a picture that I ran across 3 parking lots to get when I saw these women walking together. You don't see people dressed like that walking next to each other that often. You got to just go for it when you can get it. This was later at the Supreme Court. Who's going to be the president? Bush, Gore, Gore, Bush. And of course, when it's the Supreme Court, everybody shows up. They duke it out a little bit here. Nobody actually hit anybody, so that was good. This guy had a point. And George Bush was inaugurated as our next president. A very rainy, slushy day in Washington, and I ended up in a search for trying to stay dry. I ducked under this giant flag, which turned out to be in the parade, and I walked the entire inaugural parade under this flag, occasionally darting like a groundhog out from under the flag, make a couple of pictures, and then running back to my little warren underneath. This is an actual, it's not the incredible shrinking Cheney, it's actually just wide-angle lens thing, these things happen. This was the speech to Congress after 9/11, and it was shot with a 35mm camera, but I did a couple of pictures with a slow shutter speed, and you can just kind of see the little patches of unsharpness where people are applauding, and it kind of makes everything else look even more sharp. Like people thought it was shot with a big view camera or something. Digital, there's the rub. Well, let's see if we missed it. When the war started 3 years ago, I wanted to try and do something else. So I got out my old speed graphic, and there's a bunch of pictures later on of me which kind of are not in here except to be illustrative of all the crap I've been schlepping for the last 2 years. And anyway, I went up to this hearing where you had Myers and Ridge, or the Blurs, Rumsfeld, General Pace of the Marines, Paul Wolfowitz, basically all the heavy hitters. And I made a couple of pictures with the 4x5 doing this kind of pulled back thing that, instead of just getting in your face, I wanted to try and do something else. So I've carried that with the Holga and the speed graphic. This is Howard Dean's campaign before it fell apart. Gephardt. And I started shooting this large format camera, and with the digital, this is digital. So kind of one shoulder would be the digital camera, and the other would be this big press camera from 1950. This is now this was shot with the digital because basically, if you're going to get the incredible levitating Dasani bottle, you need to be able to stop the action, and the press camera just kind of wouldn't do that. It's his daughter. And for me, just trying to shoot with these other cameras was a way of, hello, Chief, don't call me Chief. essentially, once you get all juiced up with the cameras, though, then you've got to find out what you're going to do with them. So this is the speed graphic with this 60-year-old Ektar lens that actually was 6 months older than John Kerry. And the one under my elbow is the Holga, the little plastic one, and then the digital camera, and then I've got another camera on my left shoulder. And this is the kind of, because I have these prismatic trifocals, your head has to always be tipped back if you're going to try and see what's sharp. And you look a little silly, but, you know, then I'm ready for the magic moment. The moment that John Kerry gets off the airplane. Pretty exciting. Snap. Ah, damn it, he looked down, missed it. But there is something that's kind of sensual about all these airplanes when you have to stand under the wing all the time and get the walk-ons and walk-offs, and so you end up trying to play other games with the design thing. So this is me dancing with all my cameras at a rally in Florida. I can't believe I was really working like this, but in a sense, I really loved doing it, because if I needed to shoot with a digital camera and something that I could only get with a long lens, I could do it. But then I had all this other gear with me that I was able to take these other pictures that look a little bit different than the stuff that I probably would have taken ordinarily. This is the 91 in Iowa, the obligatory football picture, cover of Time magazine. I went up, Kennerly and I had like 3 minutes with the candidate at the same time. Newsweek and Time were both allowed up at the same moment. He's like shooting blank, 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 blank with his digital camera. I'm there struggling with my 4x5. I made about 6 pictures, but they really liked this one. They cropped it to a vertical and ran it as a cover. Anytime they use it as a cover, that's a good thing. But I was trying to use the 4x5 like a person would use a more nimble camera. Not always that easy to do. And I got to go out at least just one time with the president, because I wanted to see what it was like on the other side of the tracks. And our friends again. He was a popular guy, overcome with emotion, overcome with heat. This is the day John Kerry went duck hunting. We had the obligatory ducks on limb.